do administration, register TVET institutions, and ensure adherence to standards. And we also manage national assessments and curriculum development for TVET. In the State Department of Higher Education, it's also at master's and doctorate of philosophy degree programs. We manage university policies, we supervise universities. We also manage national assessments and curriculum development for universities. The State Department for Science, Research and Innovation is basically administering science, research and innovation policies. We also do framework collaboration among research institutions, the academia and the industry. We also promote science research and supporting national goals through evidence-based interventions. We have the Teacher Service Commission, which is a very critical component within the sector, And the Teacher Service Commission regulates the teaching service. They do teacher management services. They review the standards of education and training of persons as teachers. The demand and supply of teachers, we also look at that, and they also advise the national government on performance review for the doing. We have about and 125, 100, so we have 108,299 in the recent years, and one that took place just the other day. We have KEPSER. KEPSER, we have, I need to be corrected. Is it girls and boys? Just a correction. This is supposed to be for the last 3 financial years, for your information. So KEPSER, we have 1,242, and KILEA is 3,953, 4,071, 4,606. When it comes to enrollment, for 20, that we had 2.8 million. 2023-2024 we had 2.885636. 224-2025 we had 2.9. 23-24 we had 6.445, and then 24-25 we had 6.142. For junior secondary school, 2022-2040 million, then 2.4 by 22-23, 4, and then 42,500. We were able to cover 2.3 million learners. For 2023-2024, we had to 2.6 million learners. In terms of infrastructure development, we have 13,500 classrooms that were constructed within this period. 863 on provision of devices for learners with special needs. We provided assistive devices to 3,807 learners who have special needs. Now, for State Department for Technical, Vocational and Education and Training, the gross enrollment from TVET was 7. In terms of CBET candidates, 714 and 275. On the trainees receivership or receiving program, on trainees receiving scholarship grants, we had 110,000 were completed, and in terms of under the ministry, 64%, Number of accredited institutions grew by 24%. TVET institutions, 123%. For the State Department for Higher Education and Research, for 220, we had 60768, we had 55, 23, 22,320. For bursaries, in 2022-23, we had 20,012, and at the moment, 20,054. It is important to note that the Open University of Kenya was launched and currently offers 30 degree programs with an enrollment of 5,063 students. Under the student-centered financing model, scholarships granted to 257,523 students, and bursaries to 38,250 students and trainees. We incubated 52 innovations into the business venture. We trained 430 innovators. We identified and awarded 78 innovators. Are ongoing. For Teacher Service Commission, we have some notable issues that we have indicated there. We promoted 200 CBE, and the 4 have been scanned and indexed and are currently accessible digitally. And while still on county, the table that is there, it is providing for more promotions, recruitments, interns, recruitment on permanent and pensionable, and retooling. Of notable note is 2022-2023, there was a recruitment on permanent and pensionable of 15,000. But 190. Currently, we have 14,209. I want to come to the sector recurrent expenditure. As indicated, everything there is in billions. For 2022-2023, that is the approved budget allocation, was 533,866 billion. That was the approved budget allocation. 2023-2024, 657 billion. 2024-2025, 658. For 2022-2023, 2023-2024, 600. 2023-24, 134, 727, and 2020 in 2028, 759. Vocational training, the current expenditure for 2023, 134, 727, and 24-25 was 118 to 18, but the actual expenditure I think I repeat that. For State Department for Technical, Vocational and Training, it was, for the approved budget was 20,318. That was 2022-23. 23-24-25 was 29,779. For the State Department of Higher Education and Research, the approved budget was 103,829 B. That was for 2023-24. 22-23, then 23-24 was 156,122. Education in 2022-23 was 102,970. 23-24 was 143,522. 24-25 was 135,595. For Teacher Service, that is 2022-2023. 23-24, 339,550, and 24-25, 368,751. The actual expenditure, 296,139. That is 22-23. Then 23-24, 334,706. And 24-25, 370,770. In terms of development, for the education, approved budget 2022-23, we had 34,011. 24-24 was 32,624, and 24-25 was 23,762. 23-24 financial. 24-25, the GOK grants, we have loans, we have local aid. I think they've been provided there. Actual 23-24 was 17,252, and then 24-25 was 16,407. Technical, vocational, and training. It's 23-24 was 7 billion. Then 24-25 was 3.8 billion. In terms of actual expenditure, we had 2.2, 4.2, and 3.1. State Department for Higher Education and Research was 4.6 billion for 22-23. That is the approved budget. The following year, 23-24, was 3.7. 24-25 was 487 million. And then the actual expenditure for 22-23 financial year, 3.6. 23-24, 1.7. And 24-25, 373 million. Teacher Service Commission, we have an approved budget for development expenditure of 1 billion. That was for 2023-24, 706, 2027, and the medium-term budget. Our priorities for 2026, 2027, and the medium term. The strategic priorities are as indicated there. We want to operationalize, fully operationalize competency-based curriculum, that is the CBC, up to senior school. We would want to expand junior and secondary infrastructure. We want to strengthen teacher professional development and welfare, modernization of chemists and institutional data systems, and smart classrooms. The cross-cutting issues for this financial year 2026-2027, we have gender and marginalized regions to ensure that the girls have more access to education, and learners with disabilities are able to operationalize chemists, mobilize private capital for infrastructure development. That is the expected key outcome number one. The key output here is enrollment and infrastructure, and the indicators are net enrollment rate, and for both primary and secondary. And as indicated there in the baseline for 2025-26, 61.6 for secondary. And within the medium-term expenditure framework target for financial year 2028-29, we will aim at achieving 88.5 for primary and 65 for secondary. Enhanced access to quality education. Enhanced access to quality of and relevance of TVET. We would want the key output here is to the outcome indicator is the proportion of TVET candidates achieving minimum competence levels. And what we are looking at is for 2025-26, we would want to achieve a baseline level of 71.2%. And by 2028-29, we are looking at 85.5%. On improved accessibility, quality, and inclusivity on university education, the idea is to, the key output here is the funding model implementation, where the proportion of students with minimum university qualification enrolled in undergrad programs indicated by percentage, we want to achieve 88% in 2025-26 and 95% by the year 2028-2029. On enhanced knowledge generation, the key output is research services, and the indicator here is global innovation score, where we would want to about 6 motivated teacher workforce. The key output is recruitment and training, and the outcome indicated at 30% for primary and 62% for secondary. And by 2028-29 financial year, for primary 85% and secondary at 80%. Now, coming to the State Department for Basic Education, the key areas that are funded in billions are as follows. Free primary education, that is basic education. Free day secondary education is 54.6 billion. Free primary education, 7 billion. School meals and nutrition, 3 billion. Examination and certification, 9.9. Development projects, 16.1. Capitation for junior school, 30.9. For Teacher Service Commission, recruitment of teachers, 6.6. Promotion of teachers, 2.0. Capacity building of teachers, 1.5. Phase 2 of teachers CBA, 8.4. Salary for teachers, 402. And development projects, 0.7. 5.2. Scholarship for TVET trainees, 5.0. Recruitment of 2,000 trainers, 1. We have student fund financing, that is the help loans and bursaries, 46.34 billion. Scholarships, 20 development projects. Coming to the State Department for Science, Science and Technology Development and Promotion, 0.31, and development projects, 1.30. Recurrent resource requirements versus allocation. We have a number of classifications here, economic classification, where we are giving you approved estimates, the requirements, and what is the estimates for 25-26 is 673,286. And 2026-20, 1,095,408. For 27, for 2026-27 is 737,121 billion. 2027-2028, 781,274 billion. And 2028-2029 is 825,548. Then we are coming to State Department now. Coming to specific state departments. The State Department for Basic Education, the approved estimates for 2025-26 are 109,421,000,000, and 2026-2027 the requirements are 216,484 billion. 2027 201,763, 28, 2029, 207, 274. But in terms of allocations, 2026, 2027 is 118 billion, 650. 2027, 2028, 123, 718 billion. And 2028, 2029 is 133, 921 billion. For State Department for Technical, Vocational and Education, for 2025-26, 2026-2027, 104, 593. For 27-28, 78,204. And 28-29, 80,908. In terms of allocations, 39 billion 946, 2026-27, 2027-28 is 40, 669, and 28-29 is 41, 5, 2026. 2026-2027, 311, 920. 2027-28, 373, 070. 28-29, 428, 720. 27-28 financial year, 175, 503. And 28-29, we have 191, 636. For Department of Science, Research and Innovation, for the approved estimates, in the financial year 25-26, we have 992 million. For 2026-2027, 3.3 billion. For 2026-2027 is 1.1. 2027-28 is 1.2. And 2028-29 is 1.4. The Teacher Service Commission, 2025-20 0.23 billion. 9 is 483.14. For allocations, in the financial year 2026-2027 is 422 to 14 billion. Allocation in the education sector is 779 or 29.7 billion. That is for 2025-26 financial year. 2026-2027 is 77.5 billion. 2027-2028 is 79.6 billion, and 2020 3.842. We have 26 was 18, is it 26-2027, 9. 29 is 33.5, and in terms of allocations for 2026-27 is 16.08, 16.09, sorry. 2027-2028 is 17.363. Education and training. For 2025-2026, the approved estimates were 7,836. 2027-2028, 16,751. 27. In terms of allocations, 2026-2027 is 7,077. 2028-2029 is higher education, 2,781. The approved estimate for 2025-2026. For 26-2027, 11,435. 2027-2028, 14,390. For 2026-24, 9 is 8. In terms of allocations, 2026-2027 is 1 point. The estimates 2027-2028, 2.505. 228, 229, 2.600. Then in terms of allocations, 2026-27 is 742 billion, 27-28, 800 billion, and 28-29 is 1029. emerging issues, challenges, and key recommendations that we have are as follows. Number one is limited fiscal space, which is leading to insufficient investment in key sector priorities. Secondly, we have rapid technological advances like internet and artificial intelligence. Thirdly is climate-related disasters such as droughts, floods, mudslides, and insecurity that disrupts service delivery, especially in ASO areas. We have rising health challenges, substance abuse, and mental wellness concerns that affect attendance and productivity. Our sector recommendations, the key sector recommendations on infrastructure improvement. We recommend expansion and modernizing of physical and ICT facilities to meet growing enrollment, CBE pathway demands, and promote innovation. That is under Vision 2030, the social pillar on enhancing education. On resource mobilization, we want to promote collaborations with sector stakeholders to bridge the financing gap. On health and wellness, we want to promote mental health, combat drug abuse, and provide psychosocial support for better human capital priority. That is on social development goal 3.4 on mental health. And on industry linkages, we would want to strengthen collaboration between academia and industry for relevant training and research, better MSME growth, job creation, and this is going to help us to achieve social development goal 4.4 on relevant skills for youth empowerment, employment, youth employment, and entrepreneurship. Conclusion, education remains the cornerstone of Kenya's human capital development. Sustained and predictable funding is essential to deliver CBC and Vision 2030 goals. And therefore, the ministry calls for strengthened data-driven planning, continued collaboration between government, parliament, and stakeholders to secure education for all, and collaboration, partnership, and inclusive participation to enhance provision of equitable, quality, and relevant education that responds to market demands. Thank you for your kind attention, and God bless you.
Thank you very much, Chair of the sector, and thank you for listening. Allow me at this moment to invite our discussant, Melap Sitati from Kipra, to make some remarks, and thereafter we move to the plenary. Karibu, start.
Thank you. As you heard, my name is Melap Sitati, a researcher at Kipra. I'm going to review this sector report. And from the onset, I wish actually to congratulate the sector. The sector report for this proposal MTF period 26-27 to 27-28 is of high quality and has adhered to the guidelines as provided in the circular number 8 of 2025. As required, the report has covered issues of MTP4. This is now from the policy angle. They've also factored in the better agenda, the mandate of the sector and programs that are planned. And also they've aligned their priority areas with the National Education Sector Strategy 2023-2027. This is commendable. The sector takes the largest share of the government budget. We also had this in the morning. In the current proposal for the year 2025-26, the sector took about 27% of the overall budget ceiling, And this is actually a pointer that the government accords the education sector as a key sector for us actualizing what the Vision 2030 entails. Again, when you compare with the UNESCO recommendations, we are doing well because the UNESCO recommendations on budgeting recommends that we allocate 15 to 20% of our budgets towards the education sector. I would like also to early observe that in terms of the absorption, the sector actually has a good absorption rate ranging from the 97% to 99.3% for the MTF period of 2022-23 to 24-25. And this is a good indication of utilization, which should continue with this MTF period. The report also provides a comprehensive review of the sector performance for the MTF period, last MTF period 2022-23 to 24-25. It is evidence from the review that the sector has seen positive progress in most of the key results areas. I hope we maintain this as we implement this current proposed MTF. We recognize various steps, for instance, since the last MTF period, and we've had the chair present that, affirming that the ministry or the sector will implement the CBE from the current grade 9 all the way to TVET and university levels as we continue with the transition from the 844 to the CBE system. So I will also review in terms of the education levels. Allow me to start with the pre-primary education. We've seen from the report a steady increase in pre-primary enrollment during the review from 2023, 2.8 million to 2.9 million. However, this budget proposal does not have a strong focus on pre-primary. We see an allocation of 19.6 million. While we recognize that it is under the purview of the county government, we hold that it is a critical foundation level in terms of education sector. Therefore, our recommendation from the policy angle for the national government is that as we ensure that there is standardization, quality and equality across all counties, given that this is a key foundation area. For primary education, there are also huge gains in providing access, and this is evident with the increase in, with the improvement in the GER. The attention now shifts to equity and quality. There's a program on the Kenya Equity in Learning Program and has seen improvements, and hopefully the sector will sustain this initiative in this medium term. However, there still exists low access in some regions and for some subpopulations. Gender disparities also exist, and this is particularly in ASAL counties. When you look at the sector report on page 19, 146 of this report, it's reported that learners enrolled in public primary schools declined in the last MTF period from 8 million to 6 million, which has been attributed to economic, social, cultural, and systematic barriers. This is a significant number, and it calls for the review of the effectiveness of FPE program. And again, as we talk of these numbers dropping, where are these learners? Have they been enrolled to private schools or are they at home? So we need to check or also check whether this is a computation error that maybe omitted the junior learners in the junior school. So current capitation of 1420 has been uniform. It's actually horizontal across for all learners, regardless of their socioeconomic status, their regions and location, and also the differentiated need. We recommend the revision of FPE funding model to include targeted and affirmative funding that goes also to disadvantaged population. We note the efforts the ministry has done, especially in terms of data cleaning, as a critical process, especially to eliminate the ghost schools and students to ensure accurate capitation funding. So there's also need to enhance financial accountability and resource utilization in schools on fees and levies, especially those that are incurred by the households. Because we know also, as we have the subsidy, households still have some costs that they incur. At secondary education, there are also huge gains in terms of the programs that have been implemented. There was increase in the capitation of the FDSC, the issues of infrastructure upgrade, and among other policies, including the 100% transition from primary to secondary. However, we still note that the enrollment is low, especially in some regions, which suggests that we need to implement measures on retention. When you look at the NESP, the 2023-27, it reports 11 counties that registered the gross enrollment rate of below 50%, including the Mandera, about 18, Marsabit, Garissa, Wajir, among others. This is a substantial number of learners that are still out of school, and it's a key policy concern. Also, the quality of learning is seen through the test scores and performance, and other literacy and numeracy angles. And in 2025, only 25% of learners scored C+ and above, which is a grade for enrolling in the university level. The country is in the period of curriculum transition, as earlier mentioned, and in 2026, the first cohort will be transiting to senior school. So changing in school structure actually calls for preparation on how to reallocate resources and ensure that all learners, as we head towards the universal education, ensure that all learners access education without challenges of funding. So we also expect to see enhanced resource allocation for senior school by ministry as well as the National Treasury. On vocational and technical training, we've seen growth, and the chair has also presented in terms of the increase in enrollment. We also note that the budget has almost doubled when you compare in 2022-23 from 20.7 billion to about 33 billion in 2024-25. It is evident that there is increased development in TVET, and this is actually a key subsector for us to have the skills acquisition for the country to be productive, and as we are talking about value chains at the moment. So during also the review period, there was notable activities that were implemented, including the CBET curriculum rollout of the RPL policy, equipment and infrastructure upgrades, and also increased capitation for trainees, among others. However, we see a resource gap of 64.6 billion, which will affect implementation of this key sector. So we recommend for the National Treasury to increase the resource ceiling to match the growing TVET demand. When you compare the resource requirement vis-a-vis allocation, especially for the A&A, we see an increasing trend in terms of the requirement, but a flat figure for the allocation. So that brings a question, why? Could this be due to the ceiling, or if so, it means National Treasury should increase the resource ceiling? The report should actually explain this, and this also applies to some of the programs across the sector. So we also need to prioritize monitoring, evaluation, and reporting system to guide reforms and future investment in this key subsector. On the university education, there are also gains. We can see enrollment has increased, student placement, allocation of students' loans and bursary infrastructure, among others. However, also the aspect of A&A need to be looked at. I will not repeat that. There's also a significant resource gap of 50% for the period 2026-27, which brings out the funding challenge in universities. So the subsector should, one of the recommendations, implement performance-based funding to encourage universities to be sustainable, as well as enhance results-oriented outputs. We also recommend that when we are doing our placement for the learners who have achieved C+ and above to university, that we limit the placement and align it with the funding that is provided for in the MTEF period. Okay, so the other aspect is on science, innovation, and research. We say we want to be a knowledge, or we are a knowledge-based economy, and this is key because this is a key sector, subsector to invest for us to have that knowledge-based economy. And when you look at even the Vision 2030, it provides science, technology, and innovation as a foundation for us to attain the vision. We see also a significant resource gap of 33% for the period 26-27. This is a matter of concern that the sector has to look into, and funding remains below the ST&I Act target of 2% of the GDP annually. The resource gap limits countrywide research output and commercialization prospects. Some of the policy recommendations we are providing is that we also do the expansion of performance-based competitive grants and support for value chain research with commercial potential. Again, we can also leverage on PPPs and international partnerships for large-scale research and innovation funding. And also fast-track establishment of national data repository and observatory for knowledge sharing. Maybe when you will give us the status of that. Then finally, on the teacher management, this also takes the lion's share of the education budget, and we know why, because we need teachers for us to deliver this curriculum. So we need to ensure that there is optimum utilization of this funding. We also acknowledge and commend on the TPAD implementation. I also saw there's a new tool that has been rolled out for TPAD, and this should further be strengthened. So our policy recommendation here is we enhance continuous professional development and performance-based incentives to drive the CBE and curriculum innovation, as well as ensure we provide adequate number of teachers for us to implement the CBE curriculum effectively. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sitati, for that overview, that short review. We have benefited from that assessment. KIPRA, Kenya Institute of Public Policy Research, is a government institution whose role is to conduct and present research-based findings on key areas of government interventions in public affairs. Therefore, we appreciate that evaluation based on not only our report, but their continuous research over time on how the sector is responding to public needs in the education field. I now wish to invite reactions from our attendants. The members of the subsectors, that is basic education, TVET, higher education, and the newest subsector, science, research, and innovation, as well as the TSC, are also invited to make responses to matters that may be raised from the plenary. We'll take about 3 to 4 at a time, and then we get responses and then proceed to another set until we are able to cover as much as possible. I believe we are the last sector to sit with you, and therefore we would want to leave everyone clearly satisfied. If you want to make reference to a slide that may have shown, particularly because of figures, we would want you to do so with some speed, very specific. Make specific question. If you are commenting, very short comments on it. Let's. And then I'm reminded hopefully we have the microphone somewhere so that it can go around. So I think I'll begin with my friend with the red jacket, thank you. And then we'll go to the member who is next to you, and then we'll come here. And we go there on the white t-shirt. Sorry, I didn't get your name. Please state your name and make your question quickly and clearly. Let's begin with you, sir. Okay, do we have the mic?
I have the mic here. Can I start here? I have the mic already.
Okay, please, sir, allow him to start with the mic and we'll get to you. Sorry for that.
Thank you for the opportunity. My name is David Karani from Elimu Bora. First, I would like to start by congratulating the people from the Treasury. Last year I was here and I raised the issue of a sign language interpreter. And this year we have one. That is a good one. Let's move this way to ensure that inclusion is not just a suggestion, but something that we actually practice. For me, I would just wish to dive in on the issue of learners with special needs. This is an issue. When you look at the slides that you presented here, the numbers are dropping. From primary school, you mentioned having 146, going down to 117 and 108. Where are these learners going? Another issue, when it comes to the issue of absorption of the budget, when it comes to SNE, the Department of Special Needs, looking at their presentations deeply, I realized that they actually haven't underutilized their budget. And one of the issues they are saying is due to supply chain challenges. What would be happening? Learners with special needs are suffering out here. If we have a department only using 50% of their budget, and the children in need here is big. If you walk into a school for learners with special needs, you would cry. The teachers there don't have materials. The schools are pathetic due to lack of a better word. The parents out there are suffering. This number of learners is dropping due to the cost that parents are forced to pay. Because public schools for learners with special needs are charging. And they're charging heavily. Because they'll tell you, we need caregivers, which they cannot get. They need materials. So for a family, they look at it and they see investment on education for this learner with special needs, let it hold. They'll take up a child who is going to a school where it's a bit cheaper and a regular learner, sorry to say so. So let's look at this. And the issue of school meals, let us look at the number. We are only giving school meals 3 billion. The number of learners who need school meals is huge. When you look at what we're projecting at feeding 10 million learners by 2030. We should be doing better than this. Because actually, right now, there are learners who are kept with that meal that they get in school. So sincerely, let's look at increasing the number, the money allocated to school meals. Due to time constraint, let me give other people opportunity.
Please allow the first person we asked to.
Okay.
Make your question specifically, kindly.
Okay,
yes,
thank you.
Yeah.
My name is Stephen Waidaka from Pokot County, where I've been for the last 9 years. And according to what I have heard from the bench there, from the chair of the sector, I have realized that you have not dealt with the adult education, which was there before. And nowadays, I have not heard about adult education. And from the county where I come from, Pokot County, many people never attended school. So for adult education to be brought back, it can help those who may be willing to go back to school, so that even when you take them to the Tibet schools, they can also read and write. Because they need to hear, to learn more about what is going on in the current government or what is going on right now. The other thing is that having the lion's share or the education sector or ministry, I was asking whether something can be set aside to fight drugs, because we have pumped a lot of money in our children in university, from primary to university, we have spent a lot, and we have sold land, taken loans to educate our children, only to discover that when they go back there, drugs are there, illicit booze, they are sacked from jobs. They are terminated from jobs. When they get jobs, they are terminated because of drugs, because of drunkardness. So what is it that the Ministry of Education plus the interior government doing to curb this, so that education may be meaningful to the students and also to the parents, so that those who are coming after them can see the need to go to school. Instead of saying that this one went to school, but now look at what is becoming like a cabbage because of drugs. So we need to do something about this. Thank you so much.
Yes, yes. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Your colleague sitting next to you. Yes, madam, please. Kindly allow us to go
Yes.
the way we had said. We'll come back to you. After 1 and 2, you'll be the third one. Madam, please.
Yeah, thank you very much. My name is Emily Nanyu from Narok County. I represent Masai Mara Disabled Women Initiative. I have a question particularly on I'm so much, first of all, grateful because you are planning to build classrooms to mitigate our learners who are upcoming. But my concern is, as far as building classrooms is a long-term kind of thing to do, and we have children, we have our children whereby we are impressing the STEM, that is science, technology, and name them, as in their CBC. So could the department and the ministry mitigate by buying mobile laboratories to curb those rural areas as you plan to build classrooms all over? The second question goes to TVET. I feel like, yes, as far as we are saying education is inclusive, to me, I feel like it's in quotes, because in our TVET institutions, PWD students, the youth, they are really excluded because the infrastructure there doesn't allow them to go and learn those hand-on skills training. Because, the accessibility itself, and the instructor, they're going to curb that as far as TVET and vocational training is concerned. Thank you very much.
Thank you, madam. There was... Yes, below. Please, let's just go by the order that we stated. We'll come to those others, kindly.
Can I go on?
Yes.
Okay. I just want to propose solutions for my two presenters who have talked of children with special needs, because my case is the same, because we feel our education is not inclusive based on accessibility, both physical accessibility and also information, where we don't have facilities to ensure that our children can even attend the regular schools like the ministry is proposing. And also the special schools are very expensive, and they are in deplorable state as we speak. So I would propose that we move to assistive technology. What do I mean by assistive technology? This is where we have software tools, digital and software tools, like screen readers to assist students with reading or writing, and also learning challenges. We have audio books. We have specialized apps for literacy, all maths, and speech to text. We have screen magnifiers. We have speech recognition softwares and adapted keyboards and mice. We need to allocate more resources to enhance transition. Like they said, those in primary do not transit 100%. In fact, less than 50% will transit to our secondary schools because they are not accessible. So that is my proposal. We move on now from the technology that we have been using, sign language interpreter, I don't know, brailles. We go to digital and software tools for our students. Thank you.
Thank you. You didn't give us, madam, your name.
Oh, my name is Rahab Kiranga. I come from NEC, Nairobi East and Central Hub, Budget Hub.
Thank you for your comment. We have,
I have a mic.
you have the mic.
I think, yes.
Okay.
And
And then we will give the gentleman right behind you. Yes, the one, yes. And then we will close with you and get responses first.
Let me say mine, because also I've been raised from me, I think, from the first speaker. Thank you so much. My name is Mohammed Farah. I represent UJ East Technical and Vocational College. Mine is specific to the TFED. I think I'll go straight. Thank you so much, but we'll appreciate also the presentation that was made. It was very comprehensive and impressive. And from the morning we're hearing that it takes the largest part of our budget. We also accord that onto our government. For Ujia now, the one I present, we have key issues. I think that the representatives who are here might have knowledge on our issue here. On the Tifet County main college, we have been having a persistent problem that was existing with us for 16 years. Our land that we have a land of title deed 2.9 hectares have been encroached seriously. Currently, it has been reduced to 9.4. Still, within this 9.4, we have around 14, I think, households inside. All along, we have been struggling to remove these people through the legal way, consulting the county commissioners. It does not, I think, resulted in any fruits. Of here now, I'm representing two things. One is how to fence and protect, because even currently, the security of the staff and also the students is really in danger. Also, one other notable I have also brought on behalf of the college is that we have one a structure that I think stalled for 12 years, mechanical engineering department that could have, I think, helped to produce a lot of assistance for the residents of Ujia County. So these are two main, I think the Tefet department must be aware, and also have supportive documents here. I think with here, I will also hand over from here the Tefet representative, our director who was here. I want this to be given a very attention so that we move out, especially how to fence that one, because our land is reducing by the day. There are a lot of tensions. We have a lot of demonstrations by the day. And in fact, really, our students and the staff are in danger. Every 1 month, we have about 3 to 4 demonstrations, and it's really unbearable. Currently, students are doing exams. Even what you call the security people have become tired of this. We are really in a danger. So we will thank maybe the TFET department to give us a weight on this and give us attention. Thank you so much. And I think I have the document. I will share this with the TFET director. Thank you so much.
Okay, then let's have the right behind you. It's been. Please don't hijack and detain the mic. We have time to give everyone a chance, kindly. Please make your question clearly and specifically and quickly also.
My name is Carlos. I'm from Ruaraka sub-county. The thing, kitu nilikuwa nataka kusema ni ya kwamba the money metokea kwa bursaries, mmeweka lakini ikikuja huku mashinani, hiyo siku ya kuapply mna-apply lakini kurudi watu wengine hawapati. So hapo hawa watu wanajuana tu wanapeana. Sasa sisi kama hatupati. Sasa hapo unapata fees, hizo lunch levy shuleni ni huge. Mzazi pia huko hawezani. So hiyo kwa basari, hiyo corruption iko hapo kwa ma MP au na ma MCA. Sijui mtatusaidiaje. Thank you.
Let's just get. We'll come back to you. The gentleman, he's really been standing for long.
Good afternoon. My name is Habel Oma from Kakamega County, the Lake region from Bajeti Hub. My question to the chair regarding this education sector, and specifically the State Department for Basic Education. I'm looking at the languages that have been used during the presentations, and I saw the language used was learners with special needs and disability. So I'd like us to understand that that is not the correct terminology, because the best language to use needs to be learners with disabilities, or use special persons with disability. So that is the correct language and the terminology to use. And also, if you look at your report that you presented, when it comes to the priorities, the financial year 2026 to 2027, you use the correct language. It's the learners with disability. So we need to be consistent with the languaging. And now to my question. When you look at the learners with disabilities in primary and in high school, many times when you're allocating the funds to them, it always comes late. The money is disbursed late, and the children with disabilities in these schools really suffer. They don't have the education that they need. And when the money is finally disbursed, many times it's not 100% allocation. So I'm wondering, if you do a percentage of the total amount allocated, where does the rest go? And every financial year, we have a balance of the deficit that's not sent. So where does this money go? And lastly, yes, you've talked about free primary education, but it's not in totality. That word free is not free for learners with disabilities, because you need to do something to ensure that that word free is really free for them, for all learners with disability. Because sometimes if they're going to a specific school, there are no accommodation facility for them. So that's my comments for now, for proposals on how to support children with disabilities for equitable education. Thank you.
Thank you for that question, and thank you for assisting our friend from Kakamega. Again, the name of our colleague from Kakamega, we missed it. The last, yes, the name.
Habel Oma.
Abe Oma, thank you. Allow me now to invite the panelists, first of all, to respond to those questions. There are quite a number, from special needs and the enrollment that is dropping, to drug use, and of course the last one on funding for disability and late disbursement. There is a bursary problem, including bursaries that are under the CDF and MCS. A lot of dissatisfaction. TVET, both in terms of the disability infrastructure, and there's also a problem of land encroachment. Can we probably begin with basic education, and then we proceed to, I think, Tibet?
Yeah.
And of course, I think there was one on higher education. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. I will respond to some of the questions that have been raised, and then my colleagues, the panelists here, will also come in and respond, especially my brother from Tibet. And I want to start with a question by David Karanja on learners with the special needs. What you have indicated is that from the presentation that we have done and the reality that is on the ground, you have indicated that the numbers are dropping, and you would want possibly to know why this is happening. But I want to refer you to our way forward, where we have indicated that there are certain areas that we would want to give special focus to them. And I think this is one of the areas that we have indicated as a ministry. We will give very special focus to one, children with special needs. That is one area of focus. We have the arid and semi-arid areas, especially the arid areas, areas that are prone to droughts, areas prone to famine once in a while, and those kind of classifications. We have indicated, and as a ministry, this is what is going to be done as we go forward, as we move forward. We will give very special focus to these kind of groups to ensure that, one, we ensure there is sustainability. Once a child is admitted into school, we follow them through, because that is the importance of education. We follow them through to ensure that they are retained in as much as possible up to completion. There are a number of other things, other measures that are also being taken by the ministry that because of time I cannot be able to elaborate all of them here, but all of them coalesce towards ensuring that once we have our children mobilized into school, then they are supported and retained to completion, because that is the whole essence of education. Secondly, you also talked about the school meals, and you indicated that we have areas that have serious problems. There are areas that are prone to famine. There are places where that is the only meal. Once a child gets a meal in school, you have indicated that that is the only meal that that child gets. And I can assure you we have a section within our department that deals with matters to do with school feeding. And we've taken note of this, but it is something that we are doing. We always act on the realities that are on the ground, and where we have such kind of cases indicating that we have schools that need to be supported with feeding, then definitely that is something that is within the purview of the ministry to be able to take action and ensure that we also add in those numbers into our school feeding program. Mr. Waidaka, there is a question that you raised about adult education. It is not that we have left out adult education. It has been shifted to another sector. And therefore, if you still have time within Nairobi, you will be able to attend the sector presentation, and they will be able to talk about adult education. It is still catered for by the current government. On drug and substance abuse, Mr. Waidaka, I think I also talked about this as another area that we really want to focus on. And I want to assure you that we are working very closely with the Ministry of Interior, especially the NACADA team, so that we can be able to ensure that we focus on our schools, on our colleges, on our universities, and ensure we rid them of this menace of our children being affected. And it is one area that I can report that we are working very well, and we can be able to see results. But as we go forward, we will continue to speeden and increase our efforts in ensuring that as a ministry, we work with Interior, we work with the NACADA, so that we get rid of the menace of drugs that is not just affecting our schools, but even the youth who are within the catchment of our schools and the community. Emily, you talked about laboratories. I'm happy you commended us on constructing the classrooms. That is where we need to start. We don't need our children to learn under trees anymore. It is one thing that the ministry is really trying to do, so that we get rid of the problem of us schooling and sitting on the sun. But equally, the school has a Marshall Plan that is going to ensure that, especially for the junior secondary schools, we support them to construct laboratories. It is something that I am sure the accounting officer and the minister will be talking about soon and rolling this out. So don't get worried. We are sure that we will be able to support in ensuring that we come up with laboratories that can be used by our students, especially the ones now in the junior secondary schools. On the question of TVET, I know my brother here will be able to respond to it. Madam Rahab, I welcome your comments, especially on the area of improving technology. It is something that I have really talked about, and it is an issue that we have indicated even in our presentation here, that we would want to up not just use of technology in terms of internet, but even artificial intelligence. So that is an area that I can assure you that we are taking very seriously as a ministry, and ensuring that we conform to the expectations of the government in supporting our sections within the ministry to adapt new technology and new ways of doing business with ease without using traditional methods. I didn't get the name of my friend from Wajir, but I'm sure you are Farah, isn't it? Farah, I'm sure Mr. Nani here will be able to address the issue of the TVET College in Wajir. You have indicated there is encroachment. That is an area which we can work with them to ensure that we engage the Ministry of Lands and the county government, plus the Ministry of Interior, to be able to get a solution to this. But he will be able to give you more input into it. And the use of the old machines, I'm sure he will also be able to talk about it. Then on the issue of CDF bursaries, there is that young man that raised the issue of CDF bursaries. We have taken note, because anything that you raise concerning education, regardless of whether it is within the purview of the ministry or not, we have our representation indirectly even in CDF, so we will be able to raise those issues to ensure that bursaries are managed smoothly. So if you have any issues, for example, particular issues that you think you can be able to highlight, then you can give us a note in confidence. We have given you our email. We also have an open check in our ministry here. You can walk in, bring in a written note, and we shall be able to address that particular issue. Habel, we have also taken note of your correction. We didn't mean anything. We really love our children with special needs. So we have taken note of that correction. And secondly, you have said that we really need to make education for the children with disabilities as free as is possible. And I have indicated, even in our presentation, that it is an area of focus. When we say we are going to focus on that particular area, then it means as we equip other sections within the learning environment, then equally we are going to be looking at this particular area. And I think it is also an area which has been highlighted to us by KICD when they were looking at our presentation and our report. They highlighted those areas and said we really need to focus on schools and areas where children with special needs are affected. Let me give an opportunity to my brother from TVET to respond to his questions, and if there is any other that you have left out, then my brothers here can as well be able to respond. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. First and foremost is to acknowledge what Abel has said, and still echo what the Chair said. We acknowledge the corrections, and also in TVET we have learners, or we call them trainees with disability. So I hope I've captured it very well. Or you say there are special persons or special trainees with disability. So thank you very much. I think from Emily, your question was on access in terms of our architecture or our facilities. First and foremost, I want to say that in TVET, we have 4 special TVET institutions for persons or special persons with special needs. And the first one is SICRI Technical Training Institute for the Blind and Deaf and Other Disabilities. And then we also have Current Technical Training Institute for the Deaf. And we have St. Joseph's Technical Training Institute for the Deaf, that is in Siaya. And then we have Machakos Technical Training Institute for the Blind. These are centers of excellence, and consistently the State Department for TVET has supported these institutions. We inherited them from basic education, and we upgraded them, and we are continuing to upgrade them to the level of the other TVET institutions across the country. And we are talking about mainstreaming special needs across all the other TVET institutions. We have 250 TVET institutions, public TVET institutions across the country, and our aim is to reach 291 TVET institutions per constituency. And to ensure that there is access to all and no one is left behind, we have ensured that our architecture takes into account persons with these special needs. And one of the things that we've been grappling with is information. I know Kenyans may not know these centers of excellence for TVET, but by and by, we want to assure you that the TVET sector has taken care of them with these 4 special needs, and we are saying that all the other institutions should be able to accommodate and accept special needs. Secondly, I want to say that the new funding model has taken care of the special needs because in the new funding model, the various components are what the parent pays, what they get as loans, and what they get as scholarships. And special needs are given affirmative action. They get full scholarships, they get full bursaries. Similarly, in the State Department for TVET, we give special grants to those students in those 4 special needs TVETs. And their capitation is enhanced to ensure there is access. So this is information sharing, and also we are saying to the parents and well-wishers to ensure that they bring forth this kind of youth with special needs, because culturally some are still being hidden. So bring them forth. They have special talent, and they are able to participate. If given skills, they are able to participate in gainful employment. They are able to also create their own jobs. So they are taken care of in TVET, and continuously we can better this. We can better this. We can create. We are planning to create a TVET, a special needs TVET institution per county to take care of this constituency. The other question, and still on this, there was assistance from one of the public, Rahab, who said that we enhance this access by providing assistive devices. In these 4 special needs institutions, we have equipped them with the state-of-the-art assistive devices. So let's have all those youth across the country to come to these institutions, because we still have a lot of capacity in these 4 special needs TVET institutions. The question fielded by Farah is a very big question we have been talking to since 2013, when we established the TVET institution in Wajir. One of the biggest challenges that we encountered was the encroachment, because this land was 60 acres, but as we speak now, the encroachment into this land is as far as said. We are continuing to talk with the county government to assist us to remove the squatters. Similarly, we are engaged the National Lands Commission to again arbitrate on this, and the dialogue is continuing. We also plan as a ministry to fence off that land for that institution. And in fencing, I know we'll encounter a lot of challenge. And as the chair said, we'll need the Ministry of Interior, we'll need the Ministry of Lands. This will be a whole of government approach in solving that issue. And then on the issue of stalled infrastructure, again, we've started slowly funding the infrastructure on mechanical engineering department, and we have done it in phased approach. And you heard the chair presenting that our fiscal space shrunk, but we'll prioritize and ensure, working with the development partners, we are able to ensure that that institution is, or that department is fully constructed and equipped, as we have done the electrical and electronics department. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, our colleague from...
Just an interjection. We want to allow higher education to clarify on the issue of retention and the reducing numbers. Basic, I mean...
Thank you, Chair. Attention was drawn to the question about the numbers reducing, first from the discussant that you had 8 million in primary, they went to 6. It is just to indicate that we are transitioning from the 844 system to the 2633 system. At one point during this MTEF period, there were 7 classes in primary instead of 8. So the drop had to occur. Then at another point, we had now 6 classes instead of 8. So the drop had to take place again. But these learners were transiting to junior school. So as the drop happens in primary, there is an increase in junior school. And that is something. There was no Form 1 admission. And so the number had to come down because of lack of that class. So it is just an issue of the transition taking place currently that is causing that variation of drops. Thank you.
Higher education.
Yes, thank you very much. Mine is simply to confirm and affirm what Chair has already stated. I want to comment on the issue of adult education and lifelong learning. In higher education, we have that as one of our mandates, lifelong learning. And even as that, as you mentioned in your question, Professor Omwenga, who is the Vice Chancellor, Open University of Kenya, he's raising his hand. He is now, in the Open University of Kenya, we offer what is known as open and distance e-learning, which enhances accessibility to education. So I think what we need to do, Professor Omwenga, is to find a way to market this so that people may know and be aware that they can access adult education through this lifelong learning program. The other issue I want to comment on is we empathize on the issue of substance and drug abuse. And indeed, the government, we have a national authority for the campaign against alcohol and drug abuse, which is known as NACADA. And indeed, NACADA works very closely not only with our institutions, but they also have a helpline. And we confirm and agree that the issue of drug and substance abuse is also, linked to mental health issues. And so, indeed, there is a lot of frustration that is going on with our young people. And so, through communities working closely with NACADA, through the helplines that are available, and also working closely with the Ministry of Health, we can find a way to collaborate and curb this drug and substance abuse menace. Finally, I want to address the learners with disabilities issue that has been raised. Indeed, it is an inclusivity issue, and we take with a lot of appreciation the comment that was made on the need to embrace technologies when we, number one, are even training the learners with disabilities. In the State Department for Higher Education, as we know, we are preparing to receive CBET learners in 2029, and already we are identifying this gap where we are looking at the teacher education, because the teachers that we are educating, even when we deal with learners with special abilities, they need to be well prepared for the CBET program. And so what we are doing is we've already started identifying this, and we've already started putting mechanisms in place so that AI can be part of our modules and our programs, and this will truly enhance the inclusivity issue even as we go along. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, panelists, Chair and panelists, for the responses. Ladies and gentlemen, the Chair and the panel members have recognized the presence of our young learners and our young audience, and request your understanding so that we give them an opportunity to make comments or ask a few questions, 3, 4, or 5 of them, so that we can allow them to leave early. So let's also give them a clap for their presence. We can begin with Ms. Jamila, who walked up to this point. Okay, thank you. Give your name and where you come. That will be well and good. Thank you.
School, so you didn't see me. Am I too small?
My apologies, Jamila. I apologize truly.
My question was, get bursaries, and what about the primary and the JS? A student, thank you.
Thank you. The next one.
Okay, I have been given the chance. Hi, everyone. Hi once again. My name is Evans Otieno, and I have a couple of questions. The first question is, we have students are being punished for something that of that, even if we had a transition from 844 to CBC. There are some children who live in areas that have been highly affected by climate change. And when they were doing the exam, sometimes it was 844. What then we will say, it's cultural period. My school has the largest population in East Africa Central Division. We are over 4,000 students in our school. You see, but you see, not everybody gets satisfied. What is the government doing towards this? The feeding program, you see, there's no way you can learn. The mark is so empty. You can, when they we on those days we have to pay 7. And if we come, everybody, why? And then also, Bonachea, there's something that in the present unity, but then there's this point you skipped: additional and timely funding. We really need to look deeper into that, because when we don't have timely, yeah. Also, I think those I've already asked.
Let's make a. Okay. We have.
Kimani, and as a learner in Muthaiga Primary, we go through a lot of paying the additional and hidden fees that the Institute of Education does not speak about often. I want to provide a recommendation to the solution of bursaries, about corruption when giving bursaries, and about the all scattered organizations that give scholarships to students. Can we all scrap that? We have enough resources. As you've stated in your slides, free day school, you allocate 54.6 billion, and primary school you allocate 7 billion. Can we combine all that resources and come up with an organization, a compulsory education that is free to all? Can we, that is free, no additional cost, no hidden cost, no PA fees, no Saturday fees? can we combine all that resources from all these scattered bursaries, scholarship, individual, I don't know, mentorship programs? Can we all combine that and make compulsory free education from grade 1 to the grade 9 junior secondary? Thank you. And that's my remark.
Thank you. And okay.
Yes, this is the last one, I think so.
Yes, proceed.
So, reading on the existing protocols, I salute everyone. So, first things first, I think I'm gonna wear my cape. I want to thank the other children. Honestly, I am super proud of you guys, honestly. That's first thing. Okay, these are my fellow members of Children Assembly, like child parliamentarians from the Children Assembly. And we are here together to represent the collective voice of children. I think most of you are familiar with my face. I think so. I was here last year, and I was with Koki here, but today we brought in new faces, because we are almost, I'm 16, I'm almost 16. So first things first, I'm gonna jump into the gender and inclusion. As Madame mentioned that it actually exists on paper only. Where have we left out the street-connected kids? Aren't they also children? Jameni, like, kwani hawapaswi pia kuenjoy hizi rights pia tunaenjoy? Like, waende pia shule? It is not their fault that they're there. So I think it is our plea to the ministry to try and do something, you see, to also make education inclusive for them. You see, they also deserve the same opportunity. So when we talk about inclusion, let them be there also. Tafadhali. Number two, sorry. I'm gonna talk about like the figures I saw. Forgive me if I'm gonna be a bit harsh. I'm so disappointed, honestly. How comes we give so much money to recurrent expenditure? I think this is something we need to check. You see, this is a challenge to you guys. In the morning, the CS was challenging everyone in the room here. Apart like tuende tuwape mashida zetu, machangamoto. We also try and give you guys recommendation on where we can get more resources to service delivery. I believe this is a government that is impact-oriented, and this is impact-oriented, and we need to focus on the receiving end. You see, guys, you cannot tell me like, for example, let me use the TSC. You're giving them, in this last fiscal year, you're giving them nearly 460 billion, and you're giving basic education 220. That is double, beyond double of, like almost, I don't know. And yet, what we are recommending for the next fiscal year, this doesn't add up. This money, we can make some cuts, 2, 3, I think 10% cuts. We are allocating to tripling the capitation. Ama, Sindio, as we work on making education free for every child, I know we cannot jump straight into it. We need to start by small action plans. So tuanze na hiyo, to make cuts in these recurrent expenditures, we allocate it to even a special, we allocate them to a special account, you see, that will cater for these emerging challenges, like the children with special needs, that they need this new technology to help them, and also making capitation there. So that was my call. I am so sorry for being bitter there. I know. But I had to, honestly, because like it was really surprising. The last one was on I was surprised we don't have, what are you guys planning on Edu Afya? You guys planning about student health coverage? I want to talk about a child who was nearly to die in my school this year because of atukwa na that student cover. Angepoteza maisha, you see. So, and the most disappointing part of it is that we come here, like we focus so much on, I think civil society need to listen to this. We focus so much on requesting Treasury to give allocations. to like the child-focused MDS, but we don't focus on how this allocation, like the receiving end, its impact, you see. So please let us, as we work on advocating for fencing children MDS, you guys work on the impact orientation, you see, the receiving end of us. Lastly,
The last one,
apologies,
please.
yes, lastly. It's on the sanitary kits. I believe we need to try and increase the number of allocation in sanitary dignities, you see, that's given, especially for our sisters. So thank you to you guys. We're still friends, right?
Thank you. We didn't get your name, please.
Oh,
Repeat your name.
sorry. My name is Smith. I'm 16 years old, Lenana School.
Thank you, Smith. We have two. Please don't repeat. If you've already spoken, allow someone else to. There is the miss around here, the one with the raised hand here. Just pass it. Then one more. Who else wants to speak so that we can? Yes, there is a young master here. Yeah. So those two, and then we allow for responses.
Okay, thank you for this opportunity. My name is Hannah Wario. I come from Nairobi, Mathare Sub-County, and I'm here to raise the concern from my fellow learners. The first concern is that we don't have enough teachers to teach us all the subjects. You can find in school, we have like from grade 7 to 9, we have like, let's say for example, 5 grade 7s, 5 grade 8, and 5 grade 9. And the teachers are not enough, and all the grades depend on those teachers to teach them. So we need enough teachers to teach us, because the teachers that we have, they are not enough. We have a little teachers. So we will ask the government to look on that matter. The second and most raised concern is that we are so grateful that the government built us the grade 9 classrooms, but the classrooms are like covered with iron sheets only. They don't have the ceiling. So when the sun rises, it makes learning hard, because the classrooms become hot because there is no ceiling. So look on that matter. Thank you.
Thank you. There was last one here, this side. Oh, okay. You, and then we come to the last.
All protocols observed. Good evening.
Some quick comments so that your colleagues can also speak kindly.
Yes. And in primary school, Saturday is considered an off school to rest. But nowadays, the teachers are forcing students to come on Saturday with money. Is that a school day? You consider that to remove that, because to make the students rest, have a good time during the weekend. Yes, my plea was to talk with the schools to cancel Saturday's tuition, because it's a rest day. Yes, thank you very much.
The last, let's hear from the last one on this point. Is someone here? Yeah. Okay, the young gentleman with the, yes. Please make your comment straightforward.
So, all protocols observed. Good evening. So, like this, there's an issue which has not been talked about by each and every one of you. It is about social well-being and social and emotional well-being. Because you have heard that people are talking about gender-based violence and the violence which is going on the streets. And because as learners, we have been victims of violence and sometimes the climate change and the floods and the droughts. Most learners sometimes get depressed and they face neglection, especially the ones with disabilities, because most learners will not treat them like the normal kids they have with them. They're going to be facing neglect and they're going to be going through negative emotions through time to time. So you can find the learner gets depressed and they get stressed, which affects their learning. and makes them to be less interactive with other learners, being afraid of how they're going to be interacted with, thinking they're not normal like the other kids. So I was kindly recommending that they could have guidance and counseling sessions for the kids, because it has not been talked about mostly, and the children really need the guidance and counseling sessions, because in school we grow academically, but they also need to focus on emotional state. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we stop there a bit to allow, there's one we could, but please allow me to invite the chair and panel members to respond first to those questions. We may take one, but we must also note that the other comments we also want to hear from the rest. Chair, please, as you respond, allow me to invite some learners. They want to give you a memorandum so that you receive it in person. Let's applaud our young learners.
So let me give an opportunity to my colleague from Basic Education to respond to the questions as I attend to the learners now. Thank you. Karibu.
Thank you, Chair, for the questions. And I think I just want to acknowledge what has been put forth. They are all very important issues to think about. The issue that Jamila raised about bursary in primary and JSS is something that we need to start looking at, because initially we thought with free primary education then everybody will be catered for. We are getting to note that there are fees that is being charged at that level, which is not what the government had planned. So we will have to look at that or stimulate the administrative structures to ensure that then that does not take place. Feeding, it is true that we would want to provide a feeding program to all that we can be able to, but then we are normally constrained by, as mentioned throughout, the physical space. I hope you noted the numbers that were being indicated in terms of what were the requirements and what was provided. The sector had required close to 1.1 billion, but what was provided, 1.1 trillion, what was provided was 737. It's all because of the lack of physical space to take care of most of the things that we want. And so we constrain ourselves into touching on each bit that is very essential and prioritize them. So there, then we will relook at each one of them. I don't know how much it will be that we scrap all the bursaries, scrap all the scholarships, and give free education. I don't know whether it will be enough, because as we speak, we still have inadequate in terms of both capitations for free primary education, for free day secondary education. It is something then we have to engage and see whether it will be possible for that to really take effect. Smith talks of special needs learners. It is one of the things that we emphasize in basic, that special needs learners, learners with special needs, as we had been corrected, or learners with disabilities, are always our primary focus. When it comes to capitation, they be given capitation first. When it comes to anything, they be given first before you look at the regular learners. So that in itself means that it is not that they are neglected. We still try. And if you look at part of what has been provided, at primary school level, there is still an allocation of 2,300 besides the free primary education for special needs learners only. At secondary school, 12,510 for special needs to learners or learners with disabilities to make sure that they are able to meet the requirements in education. So really, we will still endeavor to be able to reach the levels that we all require, but we are constrained by how much we can be able to raise and how much we can be able to use. Recurrent expenditure, this is a balancing act. In the same phase, we have been told we don't have enough teachers. In the same phase, we've been told we cut 10% of the money allocated to pay teachers. So then, how do we balance this such that we now have enough teachers, but at the same time use less resources? So this is it's a difficult balancing act. The money allocated to Teacher Service Commission is for payment of the teachers that teach, and they are not enough, as it has been indicated. So cutting it by 10%, it means cutting the teachers by 10%. It is not a desirable act. So we need to look at it holistically so that we have sufficient number of teachers, but at the same time also look at their remuneration, because it is also important. The question of Eduafi, and I would just want to reiterate that the government is implementing the medical scheme, a social, universal medical cover for everybody. And so one of the things that we don't think is really very necessary is to segregate a group of people for provision of the services. And that is why Eduafia is no longer a viable option. Those monies that were meant for Eduafia will go into the whole program of universal medical cover for everybody. So then that, I think, emotional well-being. True, it is a very important thing, and it's one of that was highlighted. The social well-being is to revamp or try and see if we can revamp things like guidance and counseling in schools. Generally, as we move into the new system of education. So it is something we are looking at to ensure that that is taken into. If you looked at our major issues, there was issues of drug and substance abuse, the issue of climate change, and all these result in social and emotional well-being, the mental wellness of the learners. And so we are looking at generally part of what we want to do is to ensure that there is psychosocial support for learners so that this emotional well-being is taken into consideration. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. We also recognize a different session between the chair and the young learners, the young participants that's going on. Any other area of comment from the plenary? I want to ask from the plenary, we probably get, it's now almost a few minutes to 7, and we would want to leave. Let's give applause to the young members of our audience. Thank you, and hopefully we will continue to meet the needs and respond to the issues that you've raised. And thank you for attending to this session. We get 3 more questions, and I also want to ask, if we don't reach you, you be ready to send your comments, your questions through the email of the ministry, which we have. If you have physical memoranda, anything that is written, we can collect it. Let's get then from one, that corner, and we get our colleague, madam, where the mic is, and there was another hand somewhere here. Okay, those two first, and then. we see. Okay, you go on, madam. Please, your name and be very clear and specific. Straight to the question.
Okay, thank you. Good evening. Isabella Kidede from the Coast Regional Budget Hub by Bajeti. Most of the questions I had have been asked, so I'll just ask two questions. From your presentation, there is a resource requirement versus the projected allocation for 2026, 2027, and the next projected years. And there is quite a deficit in terms of the allocation. So how then does the ministry, the State Department, plan to supplement on the deficit of about 300 billion that is there? And then on the issue of now transitioning to secondary, the senior secondary, we've seen publishers, saying that they owe the government owes them at least 10 billion. And they've said that they won't be able to publish grade 10 books until they're paid. So how then is the government trying to deal with that? Thank you.
So thank you. My name is Brian Kipchumba Cheriot. I'm from Elgeyo Marakwet County Social Accountability Network. I'm also a student at one of the TVET in Elgeyo Marakwet. So allow me to just say something. As a civil society organization committed in strengthening youth skills and employability, we are concerned about the frequent changes in the curriculum. That is, we had NEC, CDAC, now we are in modulars. And we could just like to get a clearer confirmation that could the State Department clarify that what measures are being put in place to ensure greater stability, transparency, and industry alignment in the TVET curriculum reforms, so that trainees and trainers are not disturbed and the graduates remain competitive in the job market. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we can get a response. Yes, madam, and then we get responses.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. My name is Valentine Nyagothie. I come from the Northern Budget Hub. I'm from Isiolo County. And I want to draw your attention to page 20 of your presentation on the secondary bursary management services, the Elimu scholarships, where in 2021-2022, you allocated 37,000 beneficiaries. 2022-2023, 42,000. 2023-2024, 42, and 2024-2025, 0. And the explanation is lack of requests. I think you need to get into that, because I don't believe there were no requests for bursaries for secondary schools. Well, clearly, the uproar with the young ones is they do not have, the ones that are going to high school have no money. Most of them are at home. So what could have been the issue that caused that there are no requests for bursaries for high school? I think that is a very serious issue. We cannot decline from 42,000 students to 0. And there was allocation, there was money that had been set aside. You need to look into that. Thank you.
Which slide were you referring to?
Page 20.
Page 20?
Yeah.
The slide on, just to be clear that...
The report. The secondary bursary management services.
Okay.
Yes.
Just look into that. As we look at that particular slide, I want to invite... oh, there's another question? Yes, so we invite the panel to respond, then we move towards. Anyone with a memorandum, please hand it over to the gentleman at the rear. Yeah.
All right, let's now have the responses. I would like to start with my colleague from Basic Education.
Thank you, Chair. Got two questions. Isabella Kidiri. How do you plan to deal with the deficits? Generally, when you get a deficit, you have to really reallocate and be stringent on what you're spending. So that is one of the things. But key among that is the ongoing process of strengthening data-driven planning, in the sense that we need to be to an extent that we're able to finance the students who are supposed to be financed, and that the story of talking about ghost learners is something that we do not want to hear. And the other thing is to look at ways in which we'll collaborate. There are many other programs that are collaboration with other government entities to fulfill some of this, because some of the real questions are cross-cutting. For example, if we look at things like how then do we collaborate with, for example, Parliament in terms of providing what are the resources needed for free day secondary, or resources needed for free primary education through a collaborative method, like taking into or tapping into using the national government CDA funds. But those are just one of the things that we are looking at. Then look at dealing with projects using private public partnerships, and see whether it's possible within our institutions that some of the projects that really are very key for delivery of education can be undertaken through that model. Those are some of the things that we are looking at. For grade 10 books, we have engaged the publishers to be able to provide these books, and we have reached a solution of the books being provided so long as we pay a specific percentage, and that is part of the resources that we are trying to put in place so that we can be able to pay grade 10. Elimu scholarship, there is a difference between the scholarship and the bursary. The scholarship is provided, and those the figures you mentioned were basically for scholarship. And 2022-23 there were 37,000. 2023-24 42, then 24-25 42 again. But bursaries is generally the ministry doesn't really provide bursaries. It is only for a few individuals that are brought to us by other normally ministries, and in this case the Ministry of National Coordination, and there are some key people that will ask for bursary, and sometimes you have to do that through an allocation that we specifically ask Treasury to give. And when there is no application, then we do not provide for those. But scholarships, the applications were there, they were overwhelming, more than what was needed. Bursaries were different. So that is the only clarification I can give. Was there any other question?
Thank you. And I think as we move to wind up, there was a question on punishment. The TSC colleague, you may want to comment on that. And then I will also invite any panel member to make any remarks they may wish to add on that. I think we have done fairly well, and it's only fair that we also allow time to close. I kindly plead for your understanding for those who didn't have an opportunity to make their comment, but we still have our website and our office and our presence here to pick any document you may have. TSC, kindly.
So thank you very much. The question on corporal punishment. I think, as you are aware, corporal punishment is not allowed. So any teacher who is caught administering corporal punishment, the TSC takes that very seriously, and they are taken through a disciplinary process. In some cases, if it is found out that they are culpable, some cases may lead to dismissal from the teaching service. So when those cases are reported to us, we do our investigations and we subject the teachers through a disciplinary process. I want to assure you that the Commission takes that issue very seriously, and anytime we hear of such cases, we quickly undertake our investigations. So we are only urging the schools and the children who are affected to report those cases, and we'll take appropriate action. Thank you very much.
Any other comments from the panel?
Thank you very much. I think there was a question by Brian on our stability in terms of the curriculum in TVET. And I want to assure him that we are in the final phase of the transition from NEC, and the last lot doing NEC will be this year. Moving forward, we have transited into the CDAC exams, which are CBET, and also modularized. By modularization, it means that we've broken down the curriculum into units of competence, which are fully employable, that when you finish a unit of competence, you are able to transit to the world of work. On with the reforms in TVET, will become better and better. And we'll be able to work with industry to co-create the curriculum that is relevant to industry. So we always say we are training, or we are creating curriculum with industry for industry, and we are training with them through the dual process. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I think we now must end our session. We appreciate your patience and also your contributions to enriching our day and our presentation. Allow me, therefore, this juncture to invite one of us from the ministry to make a vote of thanks, and then we will wind with prayer. Caro, please, from Higher Education.
Yes, thank you very much. Firstly, I would like to thank the chair for running this program very effectively and very efficiently. It has been very, very good. And thank my fellow panelists here for the comments they've given, for the value they've added on this. Thank you very much for that. I would also like to thank all the technical people who are represented here from the Ministry of Education, from the sector. Thank you for coming in to support us and for giving us additional information whenever it was necessary. We don't take that for granted. We also want to thank everyone who's still seated here, our very important stakeholders, including our young people who had to leave a bit early because of time, but we also recognize them, and we want to thank you very, very much for attending these sessions and listening in service delivery in this sector. And finally, I want to thank the session I don't want to call him master of ceremony. I don't know what to call you. Rapporteur. Yes, he managed the time very, very well. He was very fair during the question and answer period, and I'm sure everybody is feeling included and is feeling satisfied. And of course, for those who still have questions, there's still a chance for you to raise your questions as guided earlier. And we look forward to hearing from you and seeing how we can improve in what we do as the education sector. Thank you very much.
Let's give again another clap. So, Ms. Karina from EOB to give us our closing prayer as we close the day.
Good evening. Kindly let us all arise and pray. Our dear Heavenly Father, we come before Thee this evening, thanking You for the gift of life. Lord Father, we thank You for the gift of service. We thank You for our country, Kenya, Lord Father. We are happy about the deliberations we've had here because it's You who enabled us to be here and discuss these pertinent issues about our country and about education in our country. Lord Father, we pray that You will enable us, continue guiding us, that we shall put all that we have discussed today into practice and make our education sector better and make our country better, Father. Father, even this evening as we depart to our various destinations, we ask for journey mercies. We ask You to be with us through as we go to meet maybe people we left in the houses or in the homes or wherever destinations we shall be going to. Give us journey mercies that we may reach well and unite with those others that we left behind well. Continue guiding our country, Kenya. Continue leading us and blessing us in each and every plan that we have, that we shall have a great country that has a better education system and has all good things that the Kenyans deserve. Lord, I ask this short prayer believing in the wonderful name of Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. May the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ and the love of God and the fellowship of the Holy Spirit be with us now, forevermore. Amen. Thank you.
Asanteni sana. Mungu awabariki tukienda.